We're joined on the Encore couch this afternoon by Kim Vecera, executive producer of Cloudstreet. How long did it take to get Cloudstreet up and running?
It's a much cherished Australian novel, as I'm sure most of the people watching this would know, and the rights were held by a variety of people over many years. Crudely, it was, at one point it was going to be, most people who optioned it originally wanted to make it as a feature film. It's pretty evident that, the material is far too broad ranging and, layered, and, the sheer fact that it spans 20 years of real life across the characters made the adaptation a very difficult process, and a number of people had the rights, they lost the rights. I remember seeing a feature film script of it probably 10 years ago. So the short answer to all of that was, and we knew that who the rights were held by, and Showtime had always wanted to make Cloudstreet. It is a bit of a passion project of Peter Rose's, who's our CEO. And when he first had a twinkle in his eye about 3 or 4 years ago, and he said, "What could we do it?" And I said, "Well, if we could try." A lot of people have tried. It's really what we'll need to do is secure the rights back to Australia, because we knew that the rights were held by an American producer. There's the long version of that. Number of people, we negotiated backwards and forwards. We'd recruited Screen Time to be the physical production company, and we basically said, "Go and get the rights." Because we physically don't make shows, we're a commissioning broadcaster. We wrote the big check, and Des Monaghan and the Screen Time principals very skillfully negotiated the rights back, and we essentially set off in pre-production in October '09.
It's a very particular world that Winton creates, one foot in reality, one foot in fantasy. Did you have to reassure him that that was your vision?
No, because Showcase wants to emulate, intends to emulate the sophistication of the HBO channel in the US. And you have to do things differently. And to do Cloudstreet in any kind of linear, literal way would have turned it, perhaps into something quite prosaic and kind of run of the mill. So you have to honour all the fantasy and the kind of magical realism of the moments, and the story is not straightforward. Tim plays with point of view and narrative and shifts time, and half the time you think you're in a dream.
Tell me about the house, because I know it was built specifically for it, and it seems almost to have a life of its own, its own character.
And it had to have that, because that is that is what the characters all talk about. The living, breathing house. How do you depict that in visuals was quite challenged, and clearly the sound design is critical to that, and everybody's reactions to the way, and occasionally having some tricks of obviously interior. You've seen some of our visual effects stuff where the corridors move like train carriages, and it's a house that's full of spirit, and not all of them are good.
The miniseries, to me, feels like a very sort of 80s, 90s model of television, at least for
I think it
Australia.
Works. Yeah, I think it works well for certain properties. I mean, Cloudstreet will never have there's no sequel. There's no long-running scenario necessarily in that. It's a big event, and certain iconic novels or properties are perfect for miniseries, and I see a few more of those now being commissioned. We like to think we pioneer a bit of these things, and there's big miniseries, the miniseries format on the ABC. They've got 2 or 3, and they've had good success with Cleo, or Paper Tigers, it's called, Paper Giants. And Milpera is being done on Channel 10, and people I think are happy to do that over a few weeks or a few nights now, and watch an appointment. If something's bold enough and well made enough, you'll get them to sit down and make a commitment to that.
Have you noticed a rise in subscriptions in the build-up to Cloudstreet?
It's really focused the messaging that we obviously try and continue to push out there, which is you can only see certain things on our channel, and you will have to buy our package to see it. And you know, that's why we've been quite protective about all of our shows in terms of their rights. We don't sell them quickly onto free-to-air, for instance, you know.
And is there interest from overseas broadcasters for Cloudstreet?
There has been actually very active interest. We've got a number of active discussions going for placing it in European and the US market.
Tell us just a little bit about Showcase.
Showcase is in a suite of channels that are on the Showtime movie package. So when you buy into Foxtel, you can have one of two movie packages. Showtime have a number of different channels, genre channel, all movie channels. We're conventionally always they're a movie brand, but action, family, comedy, and Showcase was launched a couple of years ago in direct kind of response, I guess, to that incredible funnel of great HBO hour-long series that were coming through. There weren't movies, but still would appeal to people who actually enjoyed cinema.
What do you have coming up in local productions?
I can certainly say there's another series of Tangle, which has been one of our landmark series. We'll see that later this year, our third season on that. Because Cloudstreet took a lot of our resources, it's no secret, we spent a lot of money on that show. It's just under $10 million. And we're the vast majority shareholder of that $10 million. I have two other things that we're developing, which will be a series idea, and we'll probably do another mini.